Hey everyone, Justin Thin here, doing another film review, this one after the Michigan State-Oregon game. We'll start with a couple positives here. This was the first drive of the game for Michigan State after the defense forced a punt. So this right here is Childs' completion on the opposite hash on 3rd and 12. This is kind of him at his best. What you'll notice here is this ball's out at the top of his drop. So it's 1 step, 2 step, stop, drive the foot, and then throw. So right there, and then bang, right out there. So that's the key for Childs. He doesn't have accuracy issues when he misses. He has footwork issues, I've noticed, for the most part. And those only happen when he's improvising, pockets breaking down a bit. He rarely ever misses when he gets to have a clean drop like that and getting to release the ball on time at the top of his drop. So I guess you can call them accuracy issues, but they're not from the arm. They're from the rest of the body kind of being out of sorts. And that never happens when he's on schedule. So that's him at his best right there. Next play, obviously the deep ball is what we'll highlight here. So the motion tells Michigan State that this is man coverage right off the bat. Good job by Lindgren there. He has a good feel for using motion for an actual purpose, not just using motion for motion's sake, like some guys even in the NFL these days don't get. Art Smith, looking at you. So this right here is a obviously play action handoff, but Carter's in to pick up the blocker right away, so they're not looking to have him be an actual route there. That leaves Velling crossing up the middle, a lot of routes unfolding on the right-hand side, but it's really going to be Nick Marsh going deep here against Jabbar Muhammad, who elite cornerback for Washington that transferred to Oregon. What a throw. And again, we're going to get a look here in this next view. It's going to be in the face of pressure right there. That defensive end is jumping right into Childs' frame of vision, but perfect touch. That's 42 air yards. Nobody is making that throw in this conference. Maybe Drew Aller, but Will Howard is not making that throw. Dylan Gabriel is not making that throw. But then right here, you see the other end of Childs. Drops back, nothing there. The decision to run is the right decision, but you have to right there at the 9-yard line say nobody is taking this ball from me no matter what, hold it close and run towards the goal line. And that's too casual. So nothing more to say about that. Can't fumble that ball no matter what. Okay, so into some of the negatives, which was a lot of the game, but it was actually for different reasons than I was originally thinking. I thought that Michigan State in live viewing got kind of dominated and there was a huge talent gap and they got overwhelmed. That's not really what I noticed in the tape. There's some talent gaps, obviously, especially the D-line that Oregon has, but it's a lot of missed tackles and it's a lot of them targeting Cal Haladay. And yeah, I guess we'll just dive into it as it goes. So right here, this is a tight end wheel route specifically targeted at Cal Haladay. Now, Cal is not supposed to be covering downfield. This is not like you saying, oh, Joe Rossi, why do you have him running 30 yards downfield? Cal's responsibility here is the flat. But when Terrence Ferguson, the tight end, runs this wheel route, there's nobody else for Haladay to pass him off to go cover instead. So there's no reason for him to just pass him off and stay down there. So he keeps running with him. But at the same time, Oregon knows that if they can get Cal over here on this side, they don't want anybody else to be near him in terms of a route that they're running, so that corner can peel off. So the rest are running clear out routes. So this leaves every other DB occupied. So Cal, who ended up coming out this way because there was no underneath receiver for him to go off to, which Oregon did by design because they wanted Cal to stay here, it ends up being a one-on-one matchup all the way down the field as all the other DBs are occupied by the clear out route. So just very well schemed by Will Stein. Only thing that Rossi can do here is just not have Haladay on the field, because Haladay does the right thing to just stay with his guy downfield and everyone else just happens to be occupied. So I guess it is what it is. Answer is to not play him in some of these situations, but we'll get into that as well. We'll come back to the Schuster play at the end. Okay, so this is what I mean when I say a lot of this was tackling. There's nothing that Oregon's offensive line does structurally here that is just elite run game design and or just beating guys off the ball. Like Michigan State gets a free rusher here, and at the 20-yard line, he misses. And he takes a poor angle here because he starts driving upfield, and these two steps he just took should have been straight downfield, like along parallel to the white lines. But he kept coming up, and then he ended up getting left in the dirt, and then the dude's off to the races. So, and then a missed tackle right there at the 27 as well. So they had a chance to get him at the line of scrimmage and at the 27. He goes out at the opposing 39. So you do the math on how many yards are unwarranted here. Next play. That is the 32-yard line. I get the defensive tackle is coming off of a block, but like this is Big Ten football. Like you're never going to be coming uncontested into the backfield. You have to at least trip him up more than he does. So the 32-yard line, and then boom, safety gets ran over there, another 6 yards after that. So again, do the math on how many yards that shouldn't have been on that play that they got. And that's what Michigan State wasn't giving up the last few weeks. That's the difference. It's not that the run D got exposed or that they were fluky in previous weeks. The scheme is the same. The players are the same. These guys just didn't tackle as well. I don't know if it's the short rest and flying across the country. And tackling was one of the biggest improvements they made from last year. Their tackling has been good pretty much the entire year. And that was probably the number one thing I would say was improved under Joe Rossi. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm almost glad that was the biggest flaw in this game and not something else, something that's harder to correct. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I meant when I said it's not all bad when I watched the film. Okay, speaking of not all bad, one of the greater plays from the game. Okay, first of all, 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line, I guess a couple inches behind that. Shame on Will Stein for throwing on 3rd and 1 with how their offensive line was playing. And this is just an uncalled for decision, obviously from Dylan Gabriel, who's throwing late. And Malik Spencer makes a great play on the ball here. Probably wasn't expecting him to be able to turn around and make that play. And we'll also see it from the other angle here. Very athletic play. Great catch by Spencer. But 3rd and 1 should be a run. 4th and 1 should be a run. If you don't get it, you tip your head off to the defensive line and call it a day. But I don't know. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Okay, this is another play where you can say that Halliday had a really bad game, and he did. But, there's not really a lot of linebackers on this team that played well this game where you could say, oh, that person, if they had every snap that Halliday had and they never rotated off, the defense would have been better. Watch Wayne Matthews here, who is out of the 2 linebackers you see in the box. He's the one closer to the bottom. He is going to fall hard for this handoff, even though he's drifting this way at first. Right there, he takes that step in. So if you watch right there on the 1st and goal on the green, Wayne Matthews takes 1 step in and he's cooked. He can't recover after that. I mean, he actually does a nice job catching up, but that right there, you have to have that contained. That eye discipline right there is the reason that pulling tight end, this is a Y lead read option. The reason that tight end was able to just go and move to the 2nd level and clear the lane all the way for Gabriel is because of Wayne Matthews' 1 false step, where his first initial read was to contain outside, and that's correct, and then he gave it up. And then boom, that was it. You will see it in this view as well, actually. Right there. Wrong way for just 1 step, and that's it. That's all it takes at this level of football. So probably could have been maybe a 2-yard gain, ends up being a touchdown. Okay, this is one where I'll defend Cal Halliday. This was the screen that went a long way, but again, speaks to the bad tackling. So there's a receiver at the bottom of the screen. You don't see him behind the scoreboard. He is going to be the pump fake screen option, and Halliday and a couple other people are going to be fooled out that way. That pulling guard right there you see, he is kind of what fools Halliday. And then obviously the pump fake right there did a good job right there. If you watch closely, there's a pump fake. Receiver's down there at the bottom of the screen. So Halliday's late. It's a tight end screen going the other way. That's fine. He would have gotten blocked even if he wasn't late. So that's okay on this play. But then right there, that is true freshman Justin Denson. And I get that you're playing in Rhode Island a few months ago, and now you're playing Oregon. But like you have a 5 yard space between you and the offensive lineman coming that's another 120 pounds heavier than you. You have to be able to be more athletic to make him miss and make this guy, the ball carrier Ferguson, adjust his path more than you do. So right there, that all takes place at the 38. That's where that missed tackle happens. Then Malik Spencer, who has to do better than this, he misses at the 48. And this play ends at the opposing 21, 20. So again, a lot of extra yards where you can't blame the defense for probably like the initial, 20-ish yards. But then there's another like 30, 35, 40 yards that shouldn't have happened. So that's where this game was a lot of just bad tackling. So I guess beating a dead horse, but that really was a lot of the issue. Okay, so here, very good job by Darius Snow. If Snow did the same thing that Wayne Matthews had done of taking just one false step and falling for this handoff right there, and he crashed even a little bit, that tight end coming across his face would have been wide open. And this would have been a dump off to the first read right there. Instead, Gabriel forces it all the way downfield, and Charles Brantley's there for a very athletic play. Great instincts by him, great closing speed, driving down on the ball, and just jumps the route. So great job by Snow right here, not taking that one step in where Wayne Matthews crashed right there a little bit. Snow immediately starts driving outwards. So that's the difference right there. And that's why this is a pick, and otherwise it would have been a touchdown. Okay, so this is another play where so a lot of Cal Halliday's mistakes in this game, it wasn't stuff that you'd be like, Cal, you've played too much football to be making this mistake, or like mind-numbing mistakes. He's just not able to do a lot of, I guess, shedding of blocks or maneuvering around them. Like he's just so easy to get out of there, to vacate the middle of the field. That offensive lineman comes upfield, just takes him right out. Like very little effort, just a little push, but his like body weight was already going that way, and he's not athletic enough to turn around or sidestep it. So like 15, 16 yards without any contact, without anybody there. And they ran it up the field pretty much, or up the middle, I should say, most of the game, because they knew how easy it would be to get Halliday to just vacate the middle of the field. And again, like that's not anything that you can scream at him for necessarily. It's just like he's not athletic enough to get around a lot of these guys that he faces, and he's not good at shedding blocks either with strength. So it's like you don't have the athleticism and you don't have the strength to miss these blocks or to beat them. So then that's kind of how that happens. Yeah, so there was a lot of that. Again, like a missed tackle right there at the 42. This play ends 17 yards downfield after that. And then again, you'll notice middle of the field, Halliday getting just taken out of the play very easily right there by the offensive lineman. Again, just middle of the field wide open every single time. It wasn't more so that Halliday missed a lot of tackles. It was just like he's not athletic enough in these games against these opponents to just have a presence more so than anything. And then again here, Oregon had him lined up on the tight end, motioned the tight end out, motioned it back in, had his body weight momentum going inwards. Easy pitch. They knew Halliday wasn't getting him on the corner. They attacked him a lot in this game, but it wasn't in ways where you're sitting there thinking like, oh, Joe Rossi, why are you having him all the way out there? Or why are you having him do this or that? Like he's being asked to just play traditional linebacker responsibilities. And the only solutions in a lot of these cases are just to not have him on the field. There's one instance that I do blame Rossi for kind of having him out there. And I think that might be it'll be soon, but we'll talk about that. Okay, again, like he was held at the very, very end of this play, but like he's so easy to just isolate and just kick out. And like there's nobody's there, and running back gets 10, 12 yards. But like, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say he was held at the very end there. Probably was. I guess that's probably nitpicking. Maybe should have just left that highlight out. Okay, this is one where I would say that, so they're a nickel, two linebackers out there. I would not have Cal Halliday out there in a nickel. I get he's your green dot, but you have a bye week. Find a different green dot. This is where he's out there in coverage and right there on the Big Ten logo. And route, easy yards. And then Angelo Gross, not a very good game by him. Like, he's just tripping out there at the 32. Like what are we doing here? Just and falling all over the, like, just, I don't know, dude. And then Cal at least makes a tackle there. But, yeah, not much more to say about that. Coming back to, did want to highlight there it is, the Tommy Schuster rollout, plants the foot, breaks that dude's ankles, rolls all the way back, slides. Just wanted to highlight this athletic play. Very fun. Figured some of you might have turned the game off earlier than this. It was obviously out of hand, so wanted to give Tommy Touchdowns his flowers for those that missed this play. No analysis, no notes, just nice play. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up. I'll have more thoughts on the message board after I post this. Definitely check that out if you are not a member. But yeah, I don't think the game was as bad as it looked from a eye test standpoint. Now that I kind of watched it over, like, if they tackle at like a B+ level, and Childs doesn't fumble that at the goal line, like, they're right there. Like, they covered without that. I mean, I guess you could argue that, okay, that's because Oregon called off the dog, so you might have faced their full effort the whole game. And I guess you could, it's a hypothetical that's kind of dumb, but like, they were not out, like, they didn't look like an FCS team or anything, which is kind of how they probably would have looked last year. And the talent's not that much different outside of quarterback. So I really do think that they've made big strides here against these kind of opponents. Just got to clean it up a little bit. And that's about it.